Hello everyone! Coming up in this video, we are on our way to Vertigo Games and this is where we live.
So over here is our small VR museum.
Right now this is the editor view of the DLC game.
Just a little bit more immersive than when you're playing with Vive controllers.
We are going to talk to the developers of Arizona Sunshine, how they got started with Vertigo Games and also how they came up with the idea of Arizona Sunshine and of course the DLC that recently came out, and we're gonna get a cool look behind the scenes as well. Yeah, but boom! And at the end of the video we will make a quick review of DLC like we usually do with our game reviews, just a little bit different this time. And don't forget to leave a comment down below if you have any questions. Just let us know what you think down below as well. Hello everyone, we are on our way to Vertigo Games and this is where we live. And yeah, we're going outside now and we will see you guys there later. Hello everyone, so we are here at Vertigo. We finally got here after this long walk. No, I'm just kidding, it was really close by. And we are going to show you some of the developers. And yeah, I'm here actually with Richard. He's one of the co-founders of Vertigo Games, yes. And he's going to show us around for a bit and show us where the magic happens.
So this is our studio. Let's do a short walk to our sort of like headset museum and I'll show you more of the studio over there. Follow me. So over here is our small VR museum, a little bit of history about Vertigo Games, at least on the VR side. The studio was founded in 2008 when the Kickstarter from Oculus came out in 2013. We as a studio thought, oh, this is cool, we should do this, and backed that Kickstarter, got the headset in I guess early 2014, started with some initial prototyping of VR games. Thought like, hey, this is like the headset felt like a sort of scuba diving mask, so it's really cool to do something with a diving game. So we started building a game called World of Diving, which was a VR enabled game, so it was not just for VR only, but also for traditional monitors. Learned a lot from that, and then in 2014, were approached by Valve. They said like, hey, we have something cool to talk to you about. They had a list of 200 developers and they selected 13 developers to be part of this initial announcement of the Vive. At that time it was like 3/4 of a year before the official Vive announcement. So we had the opportunity to work together with Valve on a prototype game for the Vive, and that was at that time Skyworld. It was or we had two prototypes. One was a zombie game, one was a strategy game. Yeah. The zombie game is Arizona Sunshine, and the strategy game became Skyworld. We showed that at GDC in 2015 together with Valve and HTC, which was really cool as a small studio to work with them. And from there, our VR venture kind of moved on. When we came back from GDC, we thought like, hey, let's wait with the strategy game because you need a larger install base for that. But work on the zombie shooter first. Arizona Sunshine, which was launched late 2016 for the Vive and for Oculus with the touch controllers. And a year later, we launched Skyworld, the strategy game, on all platforms, including Microsoft Mixed Reality. And in between, we also did a PlayStation version for Arizona Sunshine. So we've been doing a lot of VR over the years. Well, as you can see, the original Kickstarter headset is all the way to the left. There's even a prototype, which is a HD screen, but no positional tracking. The DK2 that basically everybody got, present day prototype. The final version, of course, and a couple of different Vive prototypes, and you'll see a whole bunch of other like Virtual Boy kind of. Well, we're not developing for that, but that's sort of we bought that on Marktplaats, the Dutch version of eBay, because it was just part of the collection.
It's a nice collection, though.
Yeah, thank you. So over here in the studio we have a couple of departments. Over here are is the programming team. We have a couple of people on holiday, so there are some seats empty. So if you look to your right over here, you'll see the art team working on different art assets. We have Jamie over here. Jamie is one of the three artists.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Hello.
He is working on a 3D mesh of a wooden plank, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Right now I'm texturing in Substance Painter. So I'm adding multiple dirt layers, and you see there a paint layer. So it has to have a look like a rotten old plank, and that's what I'm doing right now.
Okay. And what kind of programs do you mostly use? Is it always this one?
Yeah, for texturing it's Substance Painter, but for example I can show it. For the sculpting, I use ZBrush to sculpt in the really small details. So, for example, you see the cracks over here; those are too high in polygons. So you have to sculpt them in a ZBrush and then bake them on a low poly mesh.
Sounds really complicated.
It's a lot of work for one wooden plank, but in the end, we'll see a lot of those wooden planks in the game. Yeah. So.
Well, hello.
So over here is my co-founder Vincent van Brummen, who's the lead artist, and Vincent, you can.
Well, hello.
Hello. Nice meeting you. I'm Vincent, and I'm responsible for all the art you see in the game. For example, for Arizona. So that's basically what I do all day, making art models, and together with my team, we create environments for Arizona Sunshine and the rest of the games.
And how did you get into VR, Vincent?
Well, I got into games together with Richard, because we together founded Vertigo Games. Back in the day, about 10 years ago, he asked me if he wanted to start a studio, and he needed some 3D artists. So he asked me, and so we went on to an adventure. And together with Richard, right now we're 10 years further, and how many? 17 people. So. 18. Okay, yeah.
So that's how the adventure started.
Started there, yeah.
And how did you guys get to the Arizona Sunshine, for example? How did you get the idea to make a game like that?
Basically, that's most of the ideas for the game. For the games come from Richard.
Okay.
But you're answering the question. No, I get it's not like just me. It's sort of a team effort. We did a couple of prototypes with just shooting stuff, and it turned out to be very fun in VR to shoot stuff. Zombies was something that we thought hey, this is cool to do something with that. Actually, the initial concept for Arizona Sunshine, because when we went to Valve, we got all the information from HTC, hey, there's going to be room scale, there's going to be motion controllers. Before, we only had the DK1 and an Xbox controller. So we're very limited, but we got this opportunity to see the next generation of hardware before it was announced. So I thought, what can we do with a larger scale room? And the initial idea was to have a pickup truck where you're with a baseball bat and you have to smash. You're driving around some towns or whatever and kill the zombies in that way. But we quickly found out that being on a steady surface while you're moving creates nausea. Some people, don't have an issue with it, but 80% of the people will get very, very sick. So we had to sort of get rid of the pickup truck, and then sort of okay, we're standing here and now there are zombies coming at us, and it's a wave-based shooter. That felt it should be a little bit more. We should have exploration. So the next step was to add these markers where if you completed this wave of zombies, a marker would pop up, and then you go teleport to that next area. But you're still in a static area, and then the next iteration was why don't we add a sort of a dynamic teleportation thing, and then you can actually teleport around. So it had a lot of iteration before we came to the point where Arizona Sunshine right now is.
So that's it's quite a background.
Yeah, it's a lot of. That's the fun thing with VR as well. It's there is no book or a set of rules where you say, if you're gonna build a VR game, this is how you do it. If you're gonna create a World War II shooter for Xbox or PlayStation, well, there are a couple of really, really good shooters out there, and these guys kind of create the foundation of what to do if you want to create a AAA World War II shooter. With VR, there are no rules on what to do, so we have to figure it out ourselves, and that's fun because we're just a relatively small company, but to be on the sort of the frontier or the boundaries of what's possible, and then how to figure out what works, what doesn't work. That's really cool.
Okay, so we're gonna switch up a little bit because my curiosity has been triggered, and I have a few additional questions to ask. So, Vincent, can you tell us a little bit about what your normal working day looks like?
Well, first of all, we drink a lot of coffee, so that's what keeps us going. And next to it, yeah, basically what we do, we work with the Unity engine, and I can show you a little bit what I'm doing.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Right now, this is the editor view of the DLC game, and as you can see, it starts with a helicopter. This is the helicopter, and once I press play, the helicopter will fly away and the whole game will start. So basically, I'm responsible for doing all the art. So everything you see here, that is my responsibility.
Is it like the cutscene of the DLC?
No, this is just a normal game. You start somewhere over here, I think. These two green dots are the spawn points. Yeah, basically, making gaming really is a team effort. So I'm responsible for the art, but one of the artists made the helicopter. Then we have an animator who made an actual animation, so the rotors are rotating around and the thing flies away. And then we have a game designer that actually determines when will it fly away and what will it do. And then we have a sound designer who makes sound for the helicopter. So, and we also have a programmer who basically stitches everything together and makes sure everything runs at 90 frames per second. So
maybe you can tell us a bit about what is the most challenging part of what you do.
Well, the most challenging part is getting everything to run at a good frame rate, because for the VR you really need like 90 frames a second, and when you make a game for PC it can run at 30 frames per second, and then you can scale a lot with, depending on which video card you have, you can scale a lot with the quality settings. But for VR, yeah, even on the lowest quality settings you still need to have a good frame rate. So yeah, you really need to optimize a lot.
Okay, and what's the most rewarding part of your job?
Well, I think one of the most rewarding parts right now is seeing the DLC come out and a lot of people playing it and having fun with it and writing comments about it and being enthusiastic about it. So I think that's really rewarding, because especially at the end of the just before the deadline, you will need to make some extra hours. In this case, it means you're working to 12 o'clock at night or something, making long hours and stuff, and then you don't really know how people are going to react to it. When they're positive about it, it feels really good. So.
Yeah, I can imagine. So, how can we, if we play the game ourselves, how can we spot your work?
Just look around.
Just look around, like everything.
Yeah, almost everything. Yeah, of course. I'm saying it's a team effort, so a lot of models are made by the artist. What I do most of the time is more of the overall, so I put everything together and make sure that there's. That's also something that's been done by another artist, but I do the lighting and the effect. For example, over here. Okay, right now it's going really crazy. You have a light beam over here, and I've created a shader for the light beam, so it looks like it's glowing.
Yeah, it's pretty.
I don't know why it's rotating so fast, but
maybe because of the helicopter.
Yeah, the helicopter rotators are spinning, and I'm doing all the particles and stuff. So you have flames and all kind of particles flowing by. So that's the thing I do. And there's the lens flares over here that I really like lens flares.
That's awesome. I really like the ambience in VR games when you're in there and you see these kind of things. It just makes the game kind of as well.
Yeah. I think one of the really big things also is sound, and that's not my responsibility, but that also adds a lot of feeling. Most of the time, or maybe to half of the development, we're playing without audio, and then when the audio comes in, it really fits everything together, and it really determines the feeling of the game, the feeling of the environment, and then there's the cool Arizona music, and then that's really also rewarding to see when the audio is getting in there. Yeah.
Elevator held. Perimeter breached.
That ain't good.
All right, so Vincent, thank you for your time. Thank you for answering our questions. We are going to continue to do the final of the tour, because I'm very curious about this setup here.
Yeah, this is our location-based setup of that we use for Arizona Sunshine. The difference with the location-based version and the consumer version is that the consumer version you have about 3.5 by 3.5 meters of play space. Here this setup is like 7 by 7 meters, and that's mainly because our office is not bigger, because potentially you can make it, you know, up to 30 by 30 meters. What we're doing here is that we're creating an Arizona version that you basically put a backpack on your back. Yeah, over here you can see 2 or multiple backpacks on the chairs. You're completely wireless, so you can walk around. It's free roaming. You can, for example, use these 5 trackers and put them on your feet, and you can have feet tracking. We'll show that in a minute as well to you guys, and have different weapons or peripherals supported for this. For example, the Hyper Keen Blaster, the Nintendo gun, but also the machine gun over there. The difference with this one is that it actually has haptic feedback, where if you do this, you can shoot.
You can hear it as
yeah,
well,
you can hear it as well, and it is just a little bit more immersive than when you're playing with Vive controllers.
Because the new DLC has like these kind of guns, right?
Yes, the DLC has support for these guns as well, but it's also supported for the arcade version or the location-based version of Arizona Sunshine, and it works with the base station 1.0, base station 2.0, and OptiTrack setup. OptiTrack setup is traditionally a product that's for motion capture, but a lot of people are using that for tracking the headset as well. And the plus thing with OptiTrack is that you can go up to 30 by 30 meters, while Base Station 2.0 is around 10 by 10 meters, and Base Station 1.0 is, well, 7 by 7 meters, kind of stretching it, but it works. Fun fact is the dock that you can see in Arizona Sunshine. Actually, it's in every game that we create. This dock that we place somewhere.
Oh, it's like a hunt when you
yeah. Actually, in Arizona Sunshine, you can pick them up and you can throw them at the zombies. And if you throw them at the head, you kind of do a headshot, and you get an achievement for it. So if you want to have 100% completion, you need to do the zombie duck kill.
So maybe you could tell us a bit about the DLC as well, like what has been changed and what is new.
We did a lot of improvements with the DLC. Well, the DLC itself is an extra campaign map for the game. In the past, we did a couple of updates with Horde mode maps for Arizona Sunshine, but there were a lot of requests from the community, like, "Hey, do more with the story." So we gave it some thought, and like, are we going to continue the story or going to do something else? And we decided on doing a prequel where Arizona Sunshine, the player herself is in this apocalypse. It happened. It could have been like years ago, weeks ago. We don't really give that kind of information. With the DLC, we're kind of showing a little bit about like how did the apocalypse happen, and basically you're part of a military unit that goes into a missile-sidal base which is already overrun by zombies, but you're shooting or launching a nuclear warhead on the city where the outbreak took place to sort of like contain the situation, or at least that's the plan.
It sounds scary.
Yeah. Well, that's up to you to decide. But yeah, there are a lot of zombies, so it should be scary. Other improvements that we did next to the DLC map and the support for the different peripherals is that we did completely redid the multiplayer system, where before you had a matchmaking system, which was not ideal because there are not a lot of players in VR, and doing having a matchmaking session with somebody else at the same time, that was kind of scarce. So we kind of moved it over to a traditional, okay, I create a lobby and people can join that lobby system, where it's more clear for the player, like how many people are playing in multiplayer, and is there a session available, or should I host one? And that's on the visual side for the player. On the technical side, we completely rewritten the entire multiplayer code. I'm not a programmer, so I can't give you the details on it, but it was a lot of work to make sure that works, and that there, it creates a lot more stability into the game on the multiplayer side.
Okay, and would you recommend downloading the DLC straight away for everyone who hasn't played Arizona Sunshine before?
I would recommend to play the campaign first. Of course, I recommend to play the DLC afterwards as well. The DLC gives a couple of nice hints, or there are some connections between the DLC and the campaign. And if you play it in one row, you probably see the hints and like, oh, this is from the campaign. And I'm not gonna spoil anything here, but it's cool if you play it all at once.
All right.
But first play the campaign and then do the DLC.
Okay, that's a good suggestion. All right. That was my last questions actually. So I want to thank you a lot for your time and for welcoming us here. Maybe we can try out the setup in just a bit.
Definitely. Let's do that.
Whoa, well that was fun and it took up quite a lot of our time. I didn't expect that. Like the time just flew by. Yes, for me as well. It was strange. We had like an appointment at like 4 p.m. with Vertigo Games and well afterwards we didn't even realize it, but 2.5 hours just flew by without us knowing.
Yeah, so that's a good sign though.
So I just wanted to give a special shout out to Kimara, Richard and Vincent for welcoming us into their office and for giving us such an awesome tour and so much information and just giving us an in-depth look of what you guys do. We really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks so much for making time for us and just letting us know, like letting us get to know you guys a little bit better, but also
our audience, right?
Our audience, let them know what's going on in Vertigo Games. Like that's quite interesting, right? And I'll say for now, without further ado, let's move on to our review of the Deadman DLC.
The Deadman DLC came out 2 years ago after Arizona Sunshine was released. In this DLC, they added more content in a whole new area, two-handed weapons and refactored multiplayer code to make the co-op a smoother experience. When playing Deadman, you will definitely get the polished Arizona Sunshine vibe that you had before. So, if you liked the first game, you can't go wrong. The story does not continue though. Instead, you are placed back to the time when the zombie apocalypse had just started. In the DLC, you are on a mission to secure a dark military base. The atmosphere has changed to a more dark one, which gives it a scarier vibe. We are a bit sad to hear that the story won't continue, but maybe in a future DLC. The two-handed weapons in Deadman does definitely add to the gameplay. It feels epic to use them against the zombie hordes coming at you. Be aware though that the total length of the DLC is about 1 hour. You might find that short, especially if you don't explore a lot. However, for the price of $2.50, we think this is well worth the buy.
Well, I hope you liked the video. Let me know down below what you thought of the video, but also if you are going to get the DLC, if you already bought it, and what you think of it. Really though, let us know. And a big shout out to our patrons and our sponsors. Thanks so much for supporting us. It has been a tremendous help. And as always, I will say, if you want to explore more of your art, Cas and I, slam that subscribe button. Boom. We are Cas and Chary VR. I'm Chary.
I'm Cas.
And we say VR on.